grand finale of the Australian Grand Prix will decide the 1994 World Championship.
In my whole life, people had been asking me if I was going to be a racing driver like my dad. The truth is, I never wanted to become a racing driver. And yet, there I was, within a point of winning the World Championship. It's almost like I was trying to get back to the start again. Get back to the place that it all went off the rails.
A lot of people have come in the hope that this man is going to win, to do something that his late great father, double world champion Graham Hill, did.
And if I could get back to the start again, maybe I could put right everything that went wrong.
Torn from his hands.
For Damon to be saying it's too slow, it must be too much wheel spin then.
He was kind of on the peripheries of a friendship group. He says we went to the same parties. I have no memory of him whatsoever. On one particular party night, I saw him sitting outside, clad from head to toe in grimy leathers and sitting astride this big motorbike, and I think, ooh, okay, you know. And it was in a big warehouse, and I looked across, and on the other side of the room was Damon, and it was like an epiphany. I understood with absolute clarity that that was my husband. And it was the most peculiar thing because we'd literally said 2 words to each other. Got rid of the guy I was talking to. And I thought, I better go and talk to Damon and actually find out what my husband is like.
A wild mandarin.
That's a wild mandarin.
Do you like it, Georgie?
Yes, lovely.
You like ducks, don't you?
When I met Georgie, she was wary. I saw that as a challenge to try and convince her I was someone she could trust.
Damon was a very complicated guy.
Hey, this is Damon Hill, the juggler, the ace.
On the surface, he was joking and mucking about, but he was one of the saddest people I'd ever come across in my life. He just loved motorbikes, and that's what he wanted to do.
You're in your own world on a motorbike. It is just freedom.
His father won his first world championship in 1962, so he accepts whatever branch of racing he goes for, he'll always be in his father's shadow.
I'm not my father. I hope might have a little bit of his talent, but I think mostly he had determination, and that comes from something else that you can't inherit, so I'm still trying.
We had this trip to some motorbike mechanic place, and he needed his bike for the weekend, and it all became very stressful. And we suddenly screeched out to a stop outside this old church and churchyard, and that's where his father was buried. And he was, you know, absolutely bereft and in floods of tears. And that was the first time he'd ever mentioned his father to me. And that was 6 months after we'd met.
If you look at the amount of races he did in the 60s and the places he raced in, it's not surprising. He wasn't there much. It was almost like the house came alive when he came back. He put on this air of being in control, but also it had a twinkle in his eye. My dad had an attitude which was, I am going to make the most of every second of my life.
Motor racing obviously has got its dangers, and because of this, you become much more aware of life, and you extract more out of life. You go out in the garden and you look at the flowers and you hear the birds and you see the grass, and then you think, well, I'm sure there must be a God. I cannot prove to myself that there isn't one.
Journalists didn't think that he was a natural driver. He gave the impression that he didn't have an innate ability, and I think he must have done. There's no way you can win the Monaco Grand Prix 5 times without having some natural ability. It can't just be done on pure determination and grit. But if you combine the two things, you get Graham Hill.
I envy Graham Hill, not just because he's a formidable driver, but because he's also an original.
I wasn't a car racing fan, but I definitely was a fan of Graham Hill.
I didn't know to chat quite so much about that one, but...
Being a professional racing driver was lucrative in those days. You might call it danger money or whatever, but as a family, we got a real taste of the high life.
Hello? Who said that? I did. What an extraordinary thing.
We were very lucky children.
2 daddies. 2 daddies. 2 Bridgets. And 2 Damons. Gosh.
When I was 15, he announced that he was going to retire from full-time racing. He wanted to concentrate on his team, Embassy Racing. Thank God for that, you know? Because we've lived with this our whole lives, that you could be killed in a racing car. And now you're going to stop. Thank God for that. 6 months later, I was watching TV with my younger sister, Samantha. We're expecting Dad home. My mum is in the kitchen. And then we interrupt this programme to bring you a news flash.
It was late last night when Hill's own Piper Aztec smashed into a screen of trees.
I can remember just that kind of wave of heat coming up through my legs and then just into my face. And I just remember just clocking what this meant, not being sure, but being terrified.
The crash on the edge of Arkley Golf Course virtually wiped out the Embassy Hill racing team, including 2 drivers and the manager. The plane burnt out in minutes. But
I went up to her and said, Mum, they think there's a plane crash. What do you mean? I just seen it on the television. She just went hysterical. She just started screaming and getting very cross because she said, I knew it was too good to be true. that point onwards, it was just pandemonium and just horror, really. Yeah, just... that was the end, really. Then it turns out the plane wasn't insured. He didn't have the right license to support the business. He'd borrowed money. The other men on board had families too. Dad's estate was vulnerable from every angle. This is a mess, and there's not going to be anything left to look after my mum or us kids. A lot of the things in the house went for auction, and eventually the house had to go. I can remember feeling I would like to have been with him on the plane. I didn't want to be here. You know, I would have given up, you know, I would have exchanged places with someone else on the plane.
We had been living together for a couple of years. He'd been away for a week, and I missed him, so I'd made a nice supper, and raining outside and cold. And when he got back, he came in. I was literally getting the supper out the oven. He said, "I'm going to race in Formula One, and I'm going to become a world champion." Okay, that's great. You want some food, you know, and we kind of carried on eating. And I thought, well, he probably will, because he absolutely is one of the most determined people I've ever met in my life.
It's now 8 years since Graham Hill, one of motor racing's greatest characters, was lost to the sport. Since that time, his 23-year-old son, Damon Hill, has been racing motorbikes. And at Brands Hatch yesterday, wearing his father's helmet, he made his motor racing debut in the Formula Ford 2000 trophy.
You're on the verge of your first race. What are your hopes and ambitions? Where do you want to go in the sport?
Well, I'd like to go to the top. After my father had died, I did feel that I had a responsibility on my shoulders, especially towards my sisters. I'd like to, if I could, in some way, I know it's probably impossible, but in some way, fill his shoes a little.
An emotional day, too, for Damon's mother, Betty, who'd seen his father rise from a club racer to world champion. Well, you've had your first experience of driving in race traffic. What do you think of it?
It's pretty amazing, actually. It's unbelievable.
I'd started late, and so I was already in my mid-20s. And so I was probably 10 years too old. I'd been on bikes instead of go-karts. I had a bit of a steep hill to climb. I was able to run the sharp end, only I wasn't as consistent as some of the others. People I raced against started to slip away from me, and I got stuck on the rails a little bit, to the point where eventually I had no money left. So I'm now 28 with no job, no career, and we're about to have our first baby.
Well, this is it. Christmas at the Hill household.
Christmas! No, this is saying recording. This is my husband.
I was prepared to drive anything to keep my head above water and pay the mortgage. One of the guys I'd raced with was the test driver for Williams. The test driver literally was someone who just would do the donkey work. He was never going to get a shot at the #1 slot at all. As a test driver, you were not going to make it in Formula 1. But I was very keen to do this because I needed the money. And I got a meeting with Frank Williams and Patrick Head. I knew of Frank because he was around when my dad was racing.
Is it a sport anymore?
Oh, yeah. The name of the game here is competition. It's trying to prove we're out there, the best people on the racetrack.
I know what Frank wants. He wants a guy who's just going to do the job and do it properly and not be a big pain in the arse. Not like some of his drivers. I'd be testing Nigel Mansell's car. It was just the most amazing car I'd ever driven. I was there to break it, to find the flaws in it. I went round and round and round. Nigel Mansell called me the monkey.
Damon, I suppose you'd really like to be rustling those clothes for the Grand Prix.
I wouldn't mind sleeping in them, actually, you know. I feel part of the Williams team when I'm wearing the overalls, and obviously they're very successful. And the car is currently probably the best racing car that's ever been built, best Formula One car.
The world motor racing champion Nigel Mansell says he'll retire from Formula One competition at the end of this season.
Alan Prost had signed, and Nigel Mansell was miffed by that and couldn't come to an agreement, or didn't want to come to an agreement with Frank.
The issue of today, if you like, in my mind is who will be the second driver, because we've decided, we shall decide this week.
And suddenly, at the end of the season, at the last moment, when every other driver had signed contracts to drive for other teams, there was this empty space at Williams. And I thought, I've got this one chance to be in line for the best driver in Formula One. Even flew down to Adelaide in the last race of the season because I wanted Frank to see me. I hung around back of the garage like a bad penny. I was told that Frank was coming down to this test in Portugal, and he's on the verge of making his decision.
Tous les ingénieurs ici me poussent pour Damon. Nick sûrement a beaucoup de talent, il est très vite, mais les mêmes voix me disent qu'il ne connaît pas beaucoup de la voiture, il ne comprend pas beaucoup de la voiture.
I had to fly down to Portugal on the Sunday night to be there for Monday to go testing. 3 o'clock. I got in my car to head off, and I'm stuck in this 50,000 people coming out of a football match. And I'm not going to make it for this test of a lifetime, where Frank is going to decide whether or not I've got the drive. I got to Heathrow. I was thinking, I'm leaving this car on the ramp, and they can blow it up, I don't care. I got the flight, I'm dripping in sweat, my heart is through the roof. And I look at the date, and it's the 29th of November, which is the day my dad died. And, you know, I thought, I've got to get this.
Tell us, what's this? What's going on?
Oh, crikey. Hang on, Damon. There's a fax here for you. Oh, it's from Frank. Sorry, Damon. Changed our mind. Hakkinen is now driving for us for £7 million.
Is it good? The primary purpose of this conference is to confirm that Damon will be a regular driver for Canon Williams and the Williams Renault cars in the 1993 World Championship. Primarily our requirement from him is to not crash the car, is to get on the podium as often as he can, and of course therefore and thereby to obtain as many World Championship points in 1993 to help the Canada Williams team retain its grip on the World Championship for Constructors.
You will be responsible for your own travel and accommodation expenses at Grand Prix. But we will pay for your wife to attend any races you designate. What's that all about?
That's not right. Never mind.
You're not going to pay for your travel and accommodation, are you?
No.
You wouldn't have any money left at the end of the year.
Oh, no. Well, that's what has to be thrashed about, you see. Can you hear it? That's my fact, my contract going through to William.
What about Dad? What would he have thought of all this, do you think?
I think he'd be very, very excited indeed, and perhaps he'd be a bit proud of me as well.
This year, there's every prospect of a season of excitement and drama and real competition. 3 times world champion Alain Prost is back to lead the Williams team, and Ayrton Senna, who we feared might be taking a year off, is here driving an all-new McLaren Ford.
I was trying to be what they wanted, but I felt like I was on a very thin ledge. I knew I'd got to Formula 1 late. I knew I was given a golden opportunity. Now I have to get the stamp of approval as a Formula 1 driver. Got to make this stick.
Away they go. Senna's got a superb start. Damon Hill is into second position as they go into the first left corner. And look at that, a complete spin by Damon Hill. He's overdone it. And Damon Hill is in 12th position.
Oh, that's Hill going off with Zanardi. Disappointing debut for Williams.
Not a great start. I satisfied everyone's doubts about me because there were a lot of people who were doubtful that Frank had done the right thing, signing someone as inexperienced as myself. There are definitely drivers who have no doubts about themselves.
Second place driver, Ayrton Senna.
My confidence was conditional on me performing well. If I performed badly, then the little gremlins would creep in and go, well, maybe I'm not up to it. But I could not afford to fail.
We didn't expect our first child to have a learning disability. For me, the first 24 hours were really hard. And I just thought, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to be overwhelmed by this. And the hospital that we had him in, they were giving us little addresses of care homes written on scraps of envelopes. He wasn't even 12 hours old and they'd laid out his future for him. And I felt, right, okay, if that's all he's worth a lot more to us.
Feeling this responsibility I had to support Oliver and Georgie really focused my determination.
The Brazilian Grand Prix now comes down to a straight fight between Senna and Damon Hill.
Well, he's in a position to try it.
And Hill has done it.
Oh! Senna uses all his superior experience and, to the delirious delight of his countrymen, wins in Brazil.
After the race, he sent his manager round and he said, Ayrton would like to see you in his motorhome. So I went round dutifully and sat down and listened to Ayrton giving me a little bit of fatherly advice. It's dangerous and you need to be more careful.
Lovely day for it.
I was quite pleased with myself, actually, that I'd upset him. I was watching the gap between me and Alain. I was, at times, quicker than him. I knew the car better than him. I knew the team better than him. And from time to time, I did a better job in the car. Then you start to believe in yourself.
Damon Hill passes Alain Prost. Makes no bones about it either.
He was supposed to win the championship, and I was often told to back off if I got close.
Damon, he just checked his mirror to see exactly where Prost was behind him. And Prost takes the lead. No fight from Damon, very neatly done, almost looked like beautiful team drill.
Exactly what were the orders for Damon?
Damon was asked to give way to Alain, which is the basis of his contract, and really not too surprising when you consider that Damon is in his first year of Formula One.
In France, you receive orders from the box not to pass Prost, right? What is the position here for Silverstone?
You just asked the wrong question. I said I'd answer one question. I can't answer that one.
This time, Damon can win.
Yes, yeah.
He is leading, and if he's still there on lap 49, if his car's reliable, we can hope from the English point of view that he is going to win his first Grand Prix.
It's a race that his father never did win. It would be wonderful for Damon to get his first Grand Prix victories here in front of his home crowd.
This is Damon Hill's supreme day. And there's an engine blowing. It's Damon Hill. What can I or anybody say? Damon Hill's Renault engine has expired, and the Englishman is not going to win. Alain Prost goes into the lead, and I can just imagine what's going through Damon Hill's mind now. What have I got to do to win a Grand Prix?
My dad travelled on determination and enthusiasm, not being put off by disappointment.
Say Daddy's good, Ollie.
The Formula One World Champion of 1993, Alain Prost.
Finished third in the FIA World Drivers' Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome, if you please, for Damon Hill. He gave us an extremely hard time on occasions last year, and I'm glad to say he's now on the same side. Ladies and gentlemen, Ayrton Senna.
The journalists were asking, how are you going to cope with Ayrton? What a great introduction I had. Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, and now Ayrton Senna. I wanted to find out how I could be rated against these benchmarks. Same team, same car. I'd know, I'd find out. Ayrton had signed up for what he thought was going to be the kind of experience that Alain Prost had, a dominant car, and it wasn't going to plan.
The International Motorsports Federation has banned some of the controversial computer devices which help drivers in Formula One motor racing. The ban is designed to stop the domination of the richest Formula One teams like Williams-Renault, the world champions.
Ayrton, how do you feel about driving with the new regulations?
It just makes it harder. I think with electronic suspension, the cars were more control. Traction control used to give a great help. You cannot afford to go on the throttle and let the traction control do the work for you. So it is more of a challenge than anything.
When we first ran the car, it was difficult to drive.
Straight into the lead goes Schumacher. And a spinner there, that is Senna. Ayrton Senna is out. And off goes Damon Hill. My goodness, this is not Williams' race.
Ayrton stood by the edge of the track and felt he heard something that was suspicious from Michael's car. There was suspicions about whether or not Benetton still had traction control.
And Michael Schumacher wins the Pacific Grand Prix. Out comes the fist of victory. He's dominated in Japan as he dominated in Brazil.
You don't want to be racing against someone who you think is not playing fair deck. But the attitude at Williams was, we don't have the evidence, we don't know what they're doing, we're just going to have to beat them with what we've got. There was this pregnant feel about returning to Europe, the fact that Imola marked the start of the championship proper. If you were going to become world champion, you'd have to start winning. It was like the feeling that there was this thundercloud that had to release all its energy, hanging over this race.
The race starts in just over 2 hours' time now. The drivers have had their mandatory briefing and they talk through safety aspects on the track.
Imola, it's for us, I think, drivers, it's a very fast circuit, very demanding because the speeds we do around here are pretty high and it takes a lot of concentration to maintain, most of the time, control over the machine. It's also a circuit where the G-forces in our body and the neck are pretty high because we're doing this corner at 290 kilometers an hour. It's a long corner and if the neck goes, and same
I had gone to sit in the motorhome. I'm reading my book and the door opens and in comes Ayrton. He starts to get dressed and I'm thinking, do you want me to leave? You know, and he's going, no, stay and talk. Tell me, you've got little boys. And I'm thinking, really? Ayrton's about to go out and race. Does he really want to hear about my little boys? But he really did. He was talking about how happy he was when he was with his nephews, and that was his favourite thing in the world, he playing with them in the sea. He's leaving, and he stops and turns around and says, you know, don't worry about Damon, he's going to be fine. Williams are a great team, they are safe, they'll look after him, don't you worry about him. He literally walked out and went straight into the garage, got in his car, and that was that.
Ayrton is flying.
We're on lap 6 now, and Senna is followed by Schumacher.
I'd seen him go off, and my first thought was he'd be annoyed because he hasn't finished the race. I can tell from the radio communications that it's pretty serious. The tone of voice is worrying. How serious? Serious, serious. What the hell? How could he go off on that corner? I was getting limited information from Williams because they were concerned about finding out what had caused the accident and what they could advise me to not have the same problem. So we'd had power steering on the car. They wanted to be reassured that there wasn't something that was amiss with that. He said to me on the grid, turn it off, we're going to run without it, just to be sure. Right, that's going to be tough.
I was upset. You know, just bring him in. Why are you keeping him out if you don't know? I was in the garage and I saw one of the team come in and make a beeline for Patrick. I saw her say to him that Ayrton had died. I don't think I've ever felt so powerless in my whole life. It was horrible, waiting for him to just come in one piece. We got in our little hire car. Damon curled up in a little ball in the back seat. He kind of vaguely pointed me in the right direction for the airport. The plane was utterly silent. And every now and then you'd hear somebody having a cry. I mean, it was utterly silent.
Everyone in the team was just drained of any ability to comprehend. I didn't want to go to any funerals. Jackie Stewart called me and asked me, are you going to go to the funeral? And I said, I don't want to go, Jackie. I don't want to go. And he said, you'll regret it for the rest of your life if you don't go. You have to go. So for me, that is like my dad telling me, you're going to the funeral. You know, Jackie was really close with my dad. He was of that generation, and he'd seen enough of his mates lose their lives, and so he knew the right thing to do. And I got on the plane and went to Ayrton's funeral and helped carry the coffin. The last funeral I'd been to was my dad's. It was hell, emotionally. It just brought back all those feelings, fears that I'd experienced when I'd been to my dad's funeral. Most people in the team, this was something they'd never experienced before. I had to tell my mum that one of her close friends and my dad's teammate, Jim Clark, died when I was 6 years old. I knew that my dad had experienced losing his friends in this sport, and I knew it was a reality, it was a real possibility.
Did the loss of Jimmy make you feel any more vulnerable?
Well, yes, quite. I mean, that was horrible, and of course it, you know, it really brings it home with a terrible jolt, and you just feel empty, and it's you know, it's a terrible time for any driver, and it's very difficult to describe loss and how it affects you, but you just got to draw a blank across it.
And what he went through with Jim Clark was absolutely horrific. He literally picked up the pieces and put them in the truck and telling the mechanics to get the car back to the UK, and we'll work out what happened later. I did admire him enormously for his stoicism and his ability to cope with these really extreme situations. I wanted to be as responsible as him. If I could be of any help or provide any kind of comfort or solace, the only way I could do that would be to produce the results that they'd worked so hard for. To the story of my dad and Jim Clark, in that the first race they won after losing Jim Clark was the Spanish Grand Prix. I understood something about my dad in that process.
This victory must go to everyone at Williams who've been through terrible times, and also to all the fans of Ayrton Senna who said to me that they would be very pleased to see the Williams team do well. And so really to everyone, thank you very much.
okay, listen, we're not beaten yet. There's still a lot of races to go. I can win this championship. But I need support. I need all the good gear. I need to be able to spearhead this, and I want you to believe that I can do it. But following Senna's death, Renault felt they needed a big name. What do? They get Nigel back. I felt undermined by that.
Okay, you ready to go to work?
Seemed to me to be a vote of no confidence. And I think it probably looked like that to Michael, who I'm trying to race against. My best chance to show what I can do was going to be at the British Grand Prix. I got pole position, and he didn't like that. During the warm-up, the rules are you follow the pole guide to the grid. So he does this weird thing where he shoots off and then he overtakes me. And then we had a restart, and he did it again. He's overtaken me twice now. What is going on? He played these games. But this time, he got penalised, and I won the race. Felt great. And I was beginning to close the gap.
The Princess of Wales presents Damon Hill.
By the time we get to Japan, the championship was a real possibility. But they brought Nigel back again. Why are you guys not behind me? He can't win the championship. If he's going to take championship points off of me, why would you do it? I had a bit of a sulk on, and Patrick, he gave me a kind of talking to about my attitude. At that point, I just thought, do you know what? Screw all of you. If you cannot be grateful for what I have done and tried to do for your team, and you think I'm just a misery guts, I'm just going to race myself. In a way, it released me. It released me from the feeling of obligation to them. It was like going back to racing bikes. It was just freedom. To beat Michael. If I didn't, it was over. It had got quite dark because it was so wet and cloudy. He got in front of me. I can see the light on his gearbox, and I thought, if I lose sight of that, he's gone. So I'm literally driving, just looking at the red dot and thinking, just keep following that light. I ended up on the road ahead of him. I could see he was going to catch me at the last lap. This is it. In my head, I said, Ayrton, if you're up there, I could do with a hand. and something happened. My foot went to the floor. My arms are like moving in a way that I felt like it wasn't my hands. And then I'm going around turn 2 and through the S's, absolutely like a bat out of hell. I'm released from this conscious driving that I've been doing up until now. I'm absolutely committed to going as fast as possible, come what may. I just felt like I'd been visited by some sort of spirit.
Damon Hill wins the Japanese Grand Prix to close the World Championship gap between himself and Michael Schumacher to just 1 point. The Australian Grand Prix will decide the 1994 World Championship.
Never has a World Championship been as close for 10 years now.
I was so close. Simple maths. Neither of us finish, then he's the world champion. I come in front of him, I'm the world champion. It was like we just literally got the cars off the plane from Suzuka and just restarted the race in Adelaide. Got a great start, the race was on. Gradually, he started to eke away a bit of a gap. No, he's cracked me. We got to this part of the track where you couldn't see the next guy. He'd gone around a 90-degree left. Michael disappears. I see him scrabbling to get back on the track. His car was damaged. Now's my chance.
To be world champion of 1994, but can he keep going?
Schumacher should have known his car was damaged. Damon had the line.
That was a desperate manoeuvre by Schumacher to stop Damon Hill win the championship. Schumacher waiting for Damon Hill to come round, but he must know by now that the Englishman is in trouble.
And Hill shaking his head.
Damon Hill retires from the Australian Grand Prix, and the 1994 World Championship has been won by Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, you saw Damon. Wait, he sees you?
Sees you, sounds in.
Does he look in the mirror? Yeah.
You guys are warm out.
Frank and Patrick were very stoic, not in their nature to complain. The FIA should have looked at it. But they didn't.
Well, the world's just seen all that.
I was drained at the end of '94. I had to do a load of PR. It just ran from one season straight into the next, and I think I was very on edge, tired, and drained.
He hadn't had even time to process what had happened to Ayrton. And he just bulldozed his way through.
The Williams team, they have the same engine and there's no difference between us. Maybe then the difference is in the drivers. Some can keep it for the whole race, this performance, and some do for one lap.
Thank you. Damon, congratulations on the first pole of the year. How do you feel about the Benetton?
The only thing I could say is that I've learned from last year never to underestimate the guy.
Michael Schumacher had this imperious air about him. He was naturally very confident, very smart guy, and he never wanted to give anybody anything to go on. And the moment he was inside that paddock, he had a wall around himself. He wasn't going to show any sign of emotion about anything. He knew when somebody was weak. He treated his competitors with an air of disdain. In a way, you're beating them already by doing that, because that irritates any competitor. They're not regarded as worthy.
Would you ever consider being in the same team as Damon Hill?
I don't have a problem to be in the same team than Damon Hill, and I'm sure he would accept to be second driver then, so.
And it got under my skin. But he also worked on Frank and Patrick. They also regarded him as being the kind of driver they'd prefer to have rather than me.
Damon, what is his advantage on Michael Schumacher?
I'm not sure that he has an advantage. We'll have to see in the race.
And you start to doubt yourself.
Off goes Damon Hill out of the race, and Michael Schumacher takes the lead.
Being in Formula One is a very exposing experience. If you have an ounce of doubt, it's found the crack in your armour and it's straight into the central nervous system. Because you yourself might believe there might be part of that that's true. Aged 11, I just couldn't stop thinking about this motorbike. And eventually my dad bought me one for a birthday present. But he presented it to me in front of everyone.
Now, you want to be careful, all these people here.
He wanted to do it at Brands Hatch in the paddock so that it could be filmed. It was on display.
Nice to see you here.
Thank you, Bruce.
And you, Damon?
Thank you.
Hey, go on, say something.
Something.
All right, something. He's not like you, he can't chat as much as you, can he?
My dad was good at it. I wasn't cut out for it. I didn't want to be pushed into the limelight. Being pushed forward because you're the son of. If your dad is the star of the show, then who are you?
He was really, really trying hard to make this thing happen. I think he felt there were lots of things trying to stop him from achieving that. He would try to make situations as difficult as they could possibly be to kind of rev himself up, to get him into that laser focus that he would need to function at his highest level. On occasion, involved annoying me so much that I would bite back. We were in the motorhome. He started having this argument with me, which is completely ridiculous. And I just thought, oh, do you know what? I can't do this. And I picked up this massive, big flower display and just lobbed it at Damon, and then went storming off. It was not nice being used as the wind-up.
I was anxious, too anxious to prove other people wrong. And I was angry. And anger is your worst enemy in racing. It will get you to do something stupid.
And this is really hotting up to a tremendous battle between the top two in the championship.
Well, this is what the championship should be about. Two drivers, the very top of their careers, battling for the lead.
I was catching Michael, and he would have known that. There was something in the way he opened the door in that corner. And I got suckered into a move.
Hill's off, Hill's off! Oh, disaster, what has happened to Damon Hill?
Oh, he's hit. The two cars have collided. Damon has tried to pass Michael Schumacher, and the two cars collided.
Full back page of the Sun. It says the words Pratt. And it's a quote from your team boss, the guy that employs you. That hurts.
Damon Hill needs to get up to Michael Schumacher and get past him to improve his World Championship chances.
Second time now I'm in front of Damon, and he took away the possibility for me to extend the lead towards him.
Well, fundamentally, that was a mistake from Damon Hill. I think he underestimated where Michael Schumacher was going to break. The disgusted, angry Michael Schumacher walked back with Damon Hill.
Damon, your opinion is important to us. Because we only have Schumacher.
All right, I'll say something.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
I just want to know why Michael was going so slowly. Why does he suddenly go so slowly in the middle of the chicane like that? You know? He was going flat out, every lap up until then we're going flat out. And then suddenly he's going about 20 k's an hour slower.
The peak of it came in Suzuka. I had a nightmare race.
Off goes Damon Hill, bouncing across the gravel.
And this time he is out of the race. Well, words fail me.
And I remember going to the changing room, and there was Frank and Patrick on one side of the room. I suddenly thought, I want to cry. It's gone so bad, I wouldn't blame them if they sacked me on the spot. And I did go into the depression. It was just that kind of cycle of confusion. Why is this happening to me?
Why did you went off 2 times at the same corner? Aren't you frustrated?
Yes,
Thank you. Demo?
So it's really funny to see you laughing.
Well, if you don't laugh, you cry, so it's better to laugh.
Are there sometimes moments in your life when you want to stop racing?
Well, there's been a few this year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Damon was just 21 when I met him. You know, it's not that long ago that his father had died, and there was something about his seriousness and the fact that he was a survivor of this awful thing, that he was still standing. I thought, I'll be okay with him. You know, I'll be absolutely okay with him. Because I think he understood something about life that most of the people around me at the time had no understanding of.
I had a lovely childhood, and when my dad died, it all went horribly to pieces. And the rest of my time has been spent trying to put it back together again. Was I a racing driver just simply because my dad was one? I felt I had to go through all of this pain to put right everything that went wrong. But the truth is not that simple. You can't go back and fix things. That's the bottom line. You can make facsimiles of what was in the past, but you can't go back and fix things. Before I can start being me, before I can be the person that is not just copying his dad, not just a facsimile, not just an echo, I needed to let go of the past.
I'm a bit nervous. I've got a knot in my stomach.
It'd be a big disappointment then for you if you didn't win.
No, as long as he's back safely, I don't mind.
But deep down, you want him to be the fastest runner here, don't you?
No, I don't want him to be a competitive person at all. I want him to enjoy his life.
Hi, how are you doing, Chrissy?
You don't think he can enjoy his life by winning?
I don't want him to always feel that just because he hasn't been the best at something that he's failed. I think that's a terrible thing to have.
Georgie is a constant. She's not someone who values the things that a lot of people think are important. She could take it or leave it, the World Championship. But she was very aware of how much it meant to me.
Demo, no.
The 1996 Formula One World Championship Grand Prix season will be starting here at Melbourne.
Frank Wilson said that you were a different man when you arrived. What happened?
Oh, I don't know. I met my wife, really. That was one thing. She came out, and she's obviously a good influence on me.
How do you win a championship? You've got to win the first race. I just became practical. Don't get involved in any issues. Just focus on your job.
New track, new cars, new engines. Major driver changes. Michael Schumacher, who has gone to Ferrari.
Damon Hill's new teammate, Jack Villeneuve, in pole position.
Jack got pole for his first ever Formula 1 race, which is an amazing achievement. But I was not prepared to let him have that.
Damon Hill is all over the back of Villeneuve. There's obviously a lot of fraught competition between these two. The gloves are off.
Michael had gone to Ferrari and they weren't quite ready yet. It wasn't that competitive. So it was between me and Jack.
Damon Hill takes the lead ahead of Jack Villeneuve.
Victory in Australia for Damon Hill. And he's equalled his great father. 14 Grand Prix wins for son and father.
I won the first 3 races in the season.
I can't really describe it. It's been a long time since I've been leading the championship. Obviously, I just feel top of the world at the moment. I mean, it's just great.
It's coming, football's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, football's coming home, it's coming.
The next race was the Monaco Grand Prix.
Hi, Damon.
Damon.
How are you doing?
Damon, what does Monaco mean to you, especially concerning the success of your father here?
It's a great record that he had. He won 5 times. She was beaten by Ayrton. He won 6 times. I'd like to win here, and then it would be Hill 6 and Senna 6. But I think I'd like to win just for myself.
Lacey is 28 seconds behind Damon Hill. Hill there continues to have this race totally under control. And he's confident to really achieve new levels this year. Race.
I knew that he's never going to be plain sailing from beginning to end. I always knew that there was a middle bit of the season where your nerves are tested and your confidence could be shaken. Especially if you don't expect it.
Damon Hill's future in Grand Prix motor racing has been thrown into doubt after being dropped by his Williams-Renault team for next season. Hill, who leads this season's Drivers' Championship, had been negotiating a new contract with the team.
Frank phoned me up and told me, listen, I'm just here to tell you that we've got to do what's right for the team and that we've got a German driver coming and you don't have a driver with us for next year.
I'd like to give you the opportunity here today to speak to me, ask any questions you have, so that over the weekend I can concentrate on the job of winning the race. If you want to fire away, then I'm ready for you.
Damon, the world at large would expect you to feel hurt, downcast, angry, disillusioned. What are your feelings?
In a correct world, you'd be judged on your performances and that would be rewarded with another opportunity to show what you can do. This deal was done at the end of '95 and it was linked to the long-term plan for Frank to get BMW engines. German driver, BMW engines. And you're just a pawn in that game.
Hill's got away well.
I got away. And now I'm fired up because I've been sacked.
Damon Hill has impressed mightily. This must have been the most difficult weekend of his career.
I get a bit of a gap and I suddenly think to myself, okay, Damon, calm down, you're driving like a maniac, just knock it back a notch. And I come up to this chicane, all the focus went.
Look, he's hit them.
Damon Hill! He's out! You can see from the way he is holding his head that he's absolutely distraught.
It was my mistake. I got caught out. But I thought, I'm not done yet.
Give Daddy a kiss on night.
Last race.
Night, night.
Got one more chance.
Have a nice sleep.
Anything can happen. Damon can make a mistake, the car can break down, and that can happen to me as well. So until the last lap of the next race, we'll fight for it.
Stepping into the car, even though I hadn't had much sleep, because I could not sleep, I just thought, I've done everything I possibly can do. I've given 100%, you know? I honestly had. I didn't care about the doubts of others. I just thought, I want to win.
Now. He's looking very, very good indeed. Oh, watch it, Jonathan. We've all said that. Remember, at Monza, Damon Hill was in the lead commandingly, and on lap 6 he hit that tyre barrier. Well, there are no tyre barriers to hit here. And here is Damon Hill, race leader. I do hope that nobody was hurt.
Jack is out. Jack is out of the race.
Going round, they said, Jack's out. They said, well done, you're world champion.
Jones, who's one of Damon Hill's mechanics, that they passed on the good news to their driver, but Damon has not responded at all, meaning he's concentrating very hard on the job in hand.
Yeah, that's called keeping your mind on what is really happening.
This is the last lap, Damon.
It's a long road, and you can say it started when my dad died.
The teams in their blue and white caps matching the helmet of Damon Hill, which matches the helmet of his great father, Graham Hill. He is almost home. This is something that many people didn't think could possibly happen today. They thought Damon would drive a cautious race, but he fought. He fought from second on the grid. He passed Jacques Villeneuve. He took the lead. He stayed there. And Damon Hill exits the chicane and wins the Japanese Grand Prix. And I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat.
Just literally completed the mission. And suddenly the impact hits me. It hits me what I've done, what I've been able to drag out of myself. You're aware of the journey that you've been on. And also how much I miss my dad. And how much he would have liked to have known about his son. But in some other curious way, you kind of feel like he does know.